for many, many, many years. But I did not, I didn't realize for a while that I had agreed to do a talk on Halloween. But I want to thank the Institute for African American Affairs, and especially Amanke Diawara. And thank you for being here with me. And I am really honored to participate in this series, which is organized under the rubric Critical Voices, Women Writing the World. And I understand that some possible participants include Edwige Dantika and Marie Ndiaye and Chimamanda Adichie, Sapphire and Zadie Smith. I think they're thinking about inviting some of these amazing young writers of African descent. And as I understand the series, the point is to allow relatively young, I guess I'm the elder in the group, relatively young women writers of African descent to describe the world visions they engage with and produce. And of course, we meet this evening during a very exciting historical conjunction. When I agreed to speak here at NYU some time ago, I didn't expect that the Occupy Wall Street movement would erupt as it did. All over the country, people are dwelling in sites that they occupy, transforming politics, transforming the language of occupation, insisting on the advent of what many people think of as impossible. So, during this last month or so, I've been reminded more than once of one of the slogans connected to the student uprising in France in May 1968. And the slogan was, "Soyez réalistes, demandez l'impossible." Be realistic, demand the impossible. And so I think a new political language is emerging, new visions for being together in a democratic movement, new ideas, new language, new strategies that emanate from the collective imagination. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but first let me say that writers and artists have always helped us to negotiate the imagination and to find bridges that assist us in transforming the social world. Black women writers in Africa, in Europe, in the Caribbean, in the US. Chimamanda Adichie says, "I like to think of fiction as the soul of history. Fiction as the soul of history." It's very interesting that the word fiction is defined both as literature and as falsehood. Stories are both narratives and they are lies. So that if fiction can be thought of as the soul of history, we have to reflect on the role of the falsehood, the role of the lie. In order for literature, Black women's literature, to address pressing social problems, it has to become falsehood in relation to that which is. Falsehood is defined, of course, as something which is not consistent with the facts. Emancipatory projects always have to break with the facts, always have to enact a rupture with the status quo. They constitute falsehood in relation to the existing factual world. And this afternoon, or this morning rather, late this morning, this has been a long women writers of Africa. They were asking me about my background, my childhood, about my parents, about growing up in Birmingham. And I told them the story of my mother, especially, who was a foster child in a small town in Alabama, where there was no high school available for black children. And at the age of 13 or so, when she finished elementary school, instead of going to work as her foster parents insisted that she should, she ran away from home and went to the big city, which was Birmingham, where the largest colored high school in the world was situated. It's a high school I eventually went to myself. I was telling the women this afternoon that she found a room in the YWCA. She worked cleaning house to pay for her room at the Y. And she went to high school. And for her, this was absolutely essential. And as kids, we grew up in a household where education, reading, knowledge, writing was emphasized, if not once a day, then 100 times a day. And one of the things I learned from my mother growing up was how to take a leap of the imagination, how to live in a segregated city like Birmingham, Alabama, without being totally ensconced in the racist practices. She would always say, when we ask, well, why are things this way? Why don't we have a better school? Why don't we have a nice library? Why can't black people go to the museum? She would always say, this is not the way things are supposed to be. And I hear her saying that over and over and over again. This might be the way things are now, but this is not the way they're supposed to be. And they will be different. And so I learned growing up to imagine what it would be like to live in a society that was not racist. And it led me in my own trajectory to want to actually travel to other places.